on. Zabaleta. It's full time in Toronto, and Houston Dynamo have a first away win since March.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of After 90. Marie Papadakis alongside Gareth Wheeler. It was a 3-1 loss for Toronto FC against the Western Conference Houston Dynamo here at BMO Field tonight. Now, lack of intensity was the words that were chosen for Toronto FC tonight. What do you think the team could have done better?
We could add another couple words as well, because mistakes at the back really gift-wrapped. Like, I'm talking about the mall at Christmas time, gift-wrapped 3 goals for the Houston Dynamo tonight. Self-inflicted wounds by Toronto FC. The Dynamo score a soft goal in the 4th minute. Just TFC opened up far too easily and far too early. And that kind of set the tone for the rest of the night, where they really didn't get out of first gear. Now, the coaching staff is going to be disappointed. They brought in 7 different players, 7 changes from the midweek game. It's the team's 3rd game in 3 days. There's different players on different fitness levels. Some players need to be managed more. And quite frankly, some of the players that were put in today simply weren't up for it. And that's what's going to be disappointing for the coaching staff. So I think it's a good learning lesson for some of the players. The required intensity, that's the word that you and Greg Vanny wanted to use, what's required to play at the highest level. And also, I think it's a good learning tool moving forward to actually show players why certain players are more reliable in the team than others right now.
Now, you and I were looking at the stat sheet before this, and if you look at that paper compared to the result tonight, it's a black and white.
It's crazy. 28 crosses to 1 for Toronto FC, and only 96 passes in the second half for the Dynamo. TFC came on, it was 2-0, and they really started the second half much more brightly, much more energetic. Altidore and Schaffelberg came on, and then the 3rd goal was a killer. We'll get into it in a moment. And when you're down 3-0, I mean, it's game, set, match. And what's going to be frustrating for Toronto FC, the struggles against the Western Conference continue. Just 1 win against a Western Conference opponent on the season. It's a double-edged sword, right? Because at least TFC's winning their games against their Eastern Conference rivals. So obviously points earned against them means points taken away from teams that you're competing for a playoff spot against. But things need to turn around against the Western Conference. Just need to tighten things up, especially on nights like this.
Now, Gareth, what is Gareth a game changer of the night?
It's the 3rd goal. I kind of set myself up here because TFC looked like they were growing into the match. You make it 2-1. Okay, you got a lifeline. But the 3rd goal by Manotas, I mean, Greg Vanny called it ridiculous. I'll add a couple extra exclamation points to that, because it was basically 1-on-5, and how a player ends up scoring 1v5. It's beyond me. A goal like that should never be conceded, and that's really what sealed the match. Altidore got his consolation goal, but really that was where the dagger was delivered to Toronto FC. And who is Maria's man in the match?
Well, you almost set me up for that one there. Jozy Altidore, you know, he scored in every game in the past 3 games. And tonight, he had 5 total shots. And obviously, coming on in the 45th minute, scores again. Right now, he's absolutely unstoppable, and he's playing it as one of his best, I think.
8 goals in 12 games on the season. That's his best return per game played over the course of his time for Toronto FC. Obviously, we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. But that's goals in 3 straight games, like you said. And the player is absolutely on fire. Just a couple things really quickly that I also took away from tonight's match. The importance of using width. Toronto FC played a little bit more narrow in the first half of play. When they really extend that field, they're such a better team. And I actually watched the second half alongside Houston Dynamo general manager Matt Jordan. We spoke after the game. And look, the Dynamo, give them full credit. Their top player, top goal scorer, top assist man didn't play. They made 5 changes as well. And he said to me, at this stage of the season, MLS teams need to rotate their squad. Tonight, they did. Some of their players were up for it. In Toronto FC, well, obviously it wasn't good enough. So I know people will be critical about the rotation, but I mean, you got to be a team in every sense of the word. Squad players have stepped up in the past for this team, and they will in the future. Just tonight just wasn't their night.
Well, Toronto's will be back here at BMO Field on July 27th. But for everything Toronto FC, visit TorontoFC.ca. You can follow us on Twitter at TorontoFC.